Hey, what's up, Wayne? How's it going, Close, aka Lewis? Good to see you. I actually just started streaming. I haven't even started up the game or anything yet. Damn, and you gotta leave. Yeah, it's a brand new game I got. GTA 5 not for Canadians, probably because we apologize for everything we do. But yeah, we got a new game. I don't even remember how to stream anymore. There we go. I've been gone for like almost a month. It's been insane, but we got a new game here called the Innsmouth Case. It's a horror comedy mystery kind of thing. So it looked really cool when I saw it, and it's in early access, has been since June last year, I think. And I was given early access to it, so I thought, what the hell? Let's check it out. So I don't think I need to change any settings. I think everything's pretty good. The volume's okay for you guys, I hope. Everything's alright. And thank you for the follow. Nobody. Never mind. It was Wicked Dipper, but it was yesterday. And that's okay. Alright, so I've never seen this game, don't know what the hell's going on, so let's go in and see what it's all about. You're gonna make me read? Oh man. Boston, Massachusetts, my office. We are fans of the strange world of Innsmouth, but we recognize the problematic beliefs of H.P. Lovecraft. This game has been produced by a group of people who believe in inclusion and equality. So hopefully the volume's not too loud. Let me just turn that down a little bit there. Yeah, should be better. Since last time I streamed was 3 weeks ago. Jeez. Well, I only meant to take the first week of January off, but then crap hit the fan at my work, and I have been just super stressed. Lots of stuff going on, and yeah. So now we're kind of getting back into the swing of things. Your progress and story will be saved at the end of each chapter. There are 35 chapters in total. At the end of the chapter, the screen fades to black, and a green save icon appears like that in the bottom right corner, or bottom right of the screen. We recommend you always end the game after such a save point to make sure none of your progress is lost. Okay. Boston, 21st of September. The last rays of sunshine filter through the blinds of your empty office. The pathetic stench of whiskey, cold cigarette smoke, and canned ravioli fills the air. The screeching tires and constant beeping of car horns out there on the street tell you that it's gone 8 p.m. People are on the way home finishing their day. You should join them. It is life, isn't it? You decide to stay at your desk, go home. Nope, I'm gonna stay at my desk. Your day was long and frustrating. You're running out of ideas of how to handle the calls of people who want money from you. A cold shiver runs down your spine as you flick through a pile of unpaid bills. On top of the pile is a reminder from your landlady you're 2 months behind on the rent. The next one is a 3-figure invoice from a games company for an in-app purchase. You tried to claim them as business expenses in your last investigation, but somehow your client refused to pay. Then there's the second reminder from your internet provider threatening to cut off your connection. You might take legal action because without internet you can't work or live. You really need more in-app purchases, your lawyer, a cigarette, a little fresh air. You jerk open the blinds. Amongst the dust, the last rays of light shine into your eyes like a laser sight in a spy flick. It takes a few seconds for your eyes to adjust. Your gaze settles on the Horns and Hooves pub across the street. How many simple jobs this dive has given you? Jealous wives whose husbands you had to spy on. All you had to do was lie in wait at the window and take pictures of them coming out the dirtiest hole in town. You close the window before you see anyone you know. You breathe a deep sigh. It may not have been a successful day, but at least it's over. You're looking forward to a classic Friday night, watching old mystery series at home in sweatpants and getting drunk on cheap booze. Fan-freaking-tastic. Since the early afternoon, you have been staring at the foreboding bottle of liquor at the other end of the room. Up until now, a vague sense of professionalism has kept you from drinking yourself into oblivion. Now, nothing stands in the way. Suddenly, you hear someone at the door. Say, who is it? Door slowly cracks open with a timid, probably just a couple of hours. The door slowly cracks open with a timid creak. The unknown guest pauses, then in a breathy, melodic tone, you hear a woman utter, "Hello." Your insides cramp and suddenly realize that you haven't cleaned your office at all this year. You quickly try to clean up. Wait. You shout a pitch that is at least 2 octaves higher than intended. There's no time to pick up the crumpled pieces of paper on the floor. You gaze across the total mess on your desk, a weird, undefinable crust that's formed on the wood. You never noticed that before. You try to hide it by putting some unpeeled beers over them. They get stuck immediately. Nice. By the light of the desk lamp, you now see more than a silhouette. A breathtaking woman lights up your office. No doubt older than 40, maybe even 50, hard to say. Clad in black, a skin-tight dress, culminating in a décolleté that seems to defy the laws of gravity. A smoky eyeshadow as dark as algae washed ashore. Blonde, coiffed, wavy hair under a dark beret. The faint light of the setting sun catches the strands of her hair. You wonder how many heads this woman must have turned during her prime. She's completely different from your usual customers. Nervous bankers with sweat stains under their armpits, convinced their wives have something going with a mailman. Every move she makes is calculated grace. Smooth as an eel, she walks towards you and sits down on the corner of your desk. Oh, she's stuck to my desk. Determined, she walks towards you and sits down on the corner of your desk, which is a little bold, which makes me blush. Never before has a visitor parked their derriere so skillfully on the corner of your desk. You hope that the cigarette butt stranger just sat on won't leave any difficult stains. The dress looks expensive. When she starts talking, her voice is smoky and full of promise. My name is... I'm not going to do imitations of voices, by the way. My Christmas and New Year's was fantastic. Like I said before, I isolated, went to my family's for Christmas, and basically stayed there until New Year's, and then came home after New Year's. Just a quiet night in, family, and watching movies, did the countdown, all that kind of stuff. Christmas was cool, nice turkey dinner, all that kind of goodies. Really enjoyed it. How was yours? Let me just double check something here quick. Yeah, everything seems to be good. And I'm running in 1080p now, so I'm not sure if that's going to cause any issues, but we'll see. She extends her hand. Kiss her hand. You've come to the right place, lady. You kiss her hand. And light with your eyebrows in the same manner you've seen so often in those classic movies. This woman moves in higher circles and is used to luxury. You can tell by the strong smell of caviar she gives off. If you play this right, you might even be able to increase the fee for this case. Get down to business. It's about my daughter, Tabitha. She has disappeared. You're pulling out a paper and pencil. This is going to be a walk in the park. A walk in the kidnapped kids park. Well, when did you last see her and where? The woman puts a fake smile. We live in Innsmouth, a small port town north of Arkham. You frown. This is a bit vague. What was your child doing when you last saw her? What hobbies does she have? Oh, you know, kid stuff. They just run around and play with their yo-yos. That sort of thing. Dahlia nervously combs her hands through her hair. Yo-yos? She's only 8, and the sweetest girl you can imagine. She's been missing without a trace since last week. None of her schoolmates have seen her, and no one knows where she might have gone. She hands you a photo. Look, this is my little munchkin. About the same. Oh, dear God. Good heavens, is this supposed to be a joke? Is that really the face of a child or a shoddy photo edit? Are you being filmed as a part of a reality TV show? A bit of stomach acid, and the last bite of lunch slowly but surely make their way up into the back of your mouth. You swallow it. Near her eyes, you swallow the bile and involuntarily pull a face. Dahlia continues to look at you hopefully. She obviously didn't notice your little mishap. That was close. That could have been unpleasant. I'm so desperate, her eyes lock with yours. Don't you think there's something strange about your child? Nope, ask more questions about the case. Nervously combs through her hair. Does your daughter have any friends? She might be staying with classmates, sports club members, anything like that. Silently shakes her head. Very strange about... You're about to ask if the girl at least had imaginary friends, but you hold back. Hold on. Yo-yos? Ring ring. Can you hear that? It's the 90s calling and they want their outdated toys back. Dahlia blushes. Normally, you would find this quite attractive, but in the case of a missing girl beckons you're utterly unconvinced by the way this woman pretends to be a mother. She remains silent. Confront her. Something's fishy here. You haven't noticed with that sort of thing, but that's why you became a private investigator. Or, to be more precise, that's why you took an online detective course that, for a one-off fee, provided you the necessary qualification. It's time to take your visitor to task. Why did you come to me? Innsmouth is several miles away from here. Why did you want to hire me? I wouldn't even hire myself. Dahlia crosses her arms. What do you care? Do you want to be paid or not? Right now, I just want the truth. You're sticking to your principles. It's exactly what your instructor warned you about. Still, it feels good. Dahlia takes a step back and releases her tightly crossed arms. I already tried loads of other investigators, anyone who seemed trustworthy, really, but no luck. That's why I'm coming to you. Oh, damn. What about her father? Are you separated? Often children reappear with their family members. Dahlia smiles sadly. My little one can't swim well enough for that yet. Your pen remains in the same spot in the notepad. What was that supposed to mean? Let her talk. Turns the gaze away from you and looks dreamily, longingly out of the window. Her father was a fisherman, like most in the village. A few years ago he went out to sea but never returned. His boat was washed ashore weeks later. His colleagues told me that he had finally followed the call of the waves. You keep quiet for a moment. Deceased family members are always a sensitive subject. My sincere condolences. She seems calm. Oh, somehow I always knew that moment would come. My husband is in a better place now, and at some point, I'll join him. You take a closer look at Dahlia's outfit. Judging by her behavior and clothes, you would never have taken her to be a fisherman's wife. Alright. Forgive me for asking, but what do you do for a living? Jaw tenses. I work in Innsmouth tourism department. For a widowed single mom, you're surprisingly well dressed. Is more lucrative than I thought, or your husband was quite well insured. You take a theatrical break, or is there another explanation? Dahlia smiles uncertainly. My family is wealthy. Old money and some kind of local nobility. I don't understand what this question has anything to do with my missing daughter. There's a combative glint in her eyes. Dirty money might very well be connected to your daughter's disappearance. Yeah. It's none of my business but where you get your money from. But if the source is rather unorthodox, it could be related to your daughter's disappearance. You peer over your desk to take her in a little better. Your face is serious and impenetrable, but inside your head, your inner Humphrey Bogart nerd feels incredibly cool. Dahlia's smile remains unchanged, but one of her eyelids has started twitching. Nervousness, perhaps? Or do your questions make her angry? No, I have nothing to do with any illegal business. You lean back. I have no further questions. You mumble more to yourself than to her. Dahlia stretches her neck imperceptibly. No doubt she would like to have a look at your notebook. Your pen hovers on your notes. Missing daughter, dodgy lady, that's it. You've worked what's less. Hey, what's up? Take a stand. How you doing, Cody? Good to see you, buddy. I accept the case. A missing persons case. Nothing unusual. Conventional little girl runs away from home after reading her first romance novel. Usually they hide at the edge of a forest or in a library. Should be pretty straightforward. Before you can say anything, she drops a photo of the child on a roll of bills on your desk for your expenses. You nod slowly, trying not to drool down the front of your shirt. You haven't seen this much money in ages. Wake you up when the intro's done. You don't have much time to prepare. A quick search reveals that only one bus goes to Innsmouth and only once a day. A pattern emerges in your research. The few news items related to this little coastal town are always about missing persons. In addition, you find some rather old-fashioned articles that praise the coastal town as a secret holiday destination. The best fish, untouched beach promenade, authentic fishing people are the recurring buzzword. Dahlia has given you the address at which you're supposed to drop off her daughter as soon as you find her. She also wrote down her phone number on the child's photo. You take another look at the picture before you pack your things. What a pretty little kid. The next morning you travel by hitchhiking, because I don't want to spend my money. 22nd September, Boston. Your fingers gently stroke the banknotes in your coat as you leave your apartment at dawn. Only over your dead body will you waste this money for actual expenses. You've never had good experiences with public transportation, so you decided to give hitchhiking a go. At this time, you usually still roll around in bed restlessly for another 2 hours or so. You're in a park and ride area, which is located in the intersection of two country roads. This is where students and low-income earners meet to share the fuel cost of a long trip, and you often see nomads and vagabonds trying to catch a free ride. You're confident you won't be put in the last category, at least not today. Low clouds hang in the Boston sky, the air is gray, cold, and wet, and the progress of your mission depends on the charity and compassion of strangers. Your mood is optimistic. You've got a good feeling about this. The secret is to make a good impression so as not to scare away any potential opportunities. It's best to hide your true character until you're in the car. This is definitely going to work. You confidently say out loud. People close to you give you some worried looks. A little girl whose family has just parked their fully loaded van points wordlessly at you. Her mother takes note of you and turns up her mouth. Look, Mom, a poor person. The little one finally delivers that her verdict cheerfully. Nice. Poor, it's really an exaggeration of the facts, and on top of that, rude. Explain to the little girl the difference between being poor and being a freelancer. Threaten to beat her up? Nope, we'll just ignore her. Kids do not understand the complexity of adult life. Sacrifices one has to make for an exciting life as not a very successful private detective. Soon the child loses interest in you and runs back to her parents. It's time to consider the options. 3 other hitchhikers have positioned themselves at the exit of the parking lot. A student couple and a punk with a towel around his shoulders. Every now and then the car stops and the driver winds the window in to give you a few words with them. You position yourself somewhere further apart from them. I'll join them. These people seem like experienced hitchhikers. Maybe you can learn from them. Hey, you call out to the couple and hesitantly waving your hand. Hey, says one. Hey, says the other. Where are you headed? Young couple exchanges insecure looks. Springfield, the woman mumbles without looking you in the eye. The two are probably not prepared for the conversation with the other travelers. The punk ignores you. He has already flagged down the car and is talking to the driver. He disappears in the passenger door. You stand at the edge of the exit to parking lot. Stick your thumb out like a hitchhiker, just act normal. Throw yourself into a provocative pose. One leg sticking out of the trench coat, angled suggestively, your hand on your hip. That's how you present yourself into passing cars. Fiery but not easy. An uncut diamond on the roadside. The young couple looks over at you and their eyes widen. Admiration, you're quite certain. And a pinch of envy. You challenge their glances and move your leg back and forth. She slowly raises her hand and covers her mouth. He bites his lower lip softly. A horn pulls you back into reality. An old VW bus stops next to you. The car is sprinkled with peace symbols. The driver lands down his window and green smoke escapes the car. Hot moves. Wow, the driver laughs in a rough voice. You stare in the face of a modern hipster, or is he a surfer bro after all? Hard to say. Complicated and, at the same time, a messy man bun, paired with a tasteless hippie shirt. Hesitantly, you examine your first option since forever. I'm Lunny. The young man grins at you warmly. This isn't going to end well. What's up, dude? You wonder if he can actually see you through the wild curls that still cover his face. Are you going to Innsmouth? Lunny claps his hand on the side of the bus. Sure thing. My surfboard and me, we can't wait. Lunny leans out the window and clouds of smoke rising behind him suggests that his seat is on fire. What's the deal, man? Or what's the deal? In or out, man? Join Lunny. I'm in, you answer, and Lunny grins becomes even wider. Woo, let's go. Let's get going. You sprint around the bus. Lunny's already opened the passenger door. A few cans of orange lemonade clatter on the asphalt and dropped in the front of your shoes. You pause for a moment and take a look at the trash inside the minibus. It takes some serious commitment to mess up your car like that. This guy was a real expert at being messy. You wonder where to put your briefcase. Between the crumpled slips of paper under the passenger seat, next to the rotten tomato plant in the storage room, on top of the unwashed clothes behind the seat, and top of the unwashed clothes. You stow away the bag and try to wipe off the transparent film of slime that now sticks to your hand. Letty makes a train driver arm gesture. Choo-choo, let's roll. He pushes down the gas pedal and the bus starts moving. Nervously, you watch Lenny play around with the control knob on the old car radio while you're approaching a junction. But maybe intentionally or maybe just by chance, the traffic light turns green just in time. The bus drives on at a steady pace and the cars in front of you start moving just in time so Lenny doesn't run into them. Cozy, just enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. You step back and relax. A turbine engine of a crashing airplane could fall on you at any moment, or you could choke on a piece of vegan chocolate. Life's too short to worry constantly. Lenny has finally found a station with 90s punk rock that he likes. Time flies. Despite various distractions, some of which have to do with his therapy, Lenny manages not to cause an accident and somehow seamlessly weaves into the other traffic. And look at us go. The air in the car is stuffy and makes you sleepy. For the first time in many months, you feel relaxed and sure that everything is going to be fine. If you give your best on the job, there's a natural chance you will find the girl, bag the money, and emerge as the hero of the story. So what brings you to Innsmouth, man? Holiday? Lenny tears you out of your dreams. Mention your mission. We'll lie. Vacation, exactly. I love to see in shabby villages and that nobody's ever heard of before. Lenny's hand slams down on the dashboard. Got it, man. The beach, the sea, the waves, I can hardly wait. Innsmouth is supposed to be a total insider tip, just like Thailand used to be. He grins. Insider tip? Where are you staying? Insider tip. Well, super secret, so secret in fact that I don't even remember how I got the info in the first place. He rubs his stubbled chin. I think I was in an online forum and somebody was praising Innsmouth as if it were paradise on earth. Not a soul, high waves and perfect beach all to yourself. That matches up with your own research. Pretty much all the information you could gather about the small coastal town was about the beach area, the fresh sea air, and the fish delicacies. Apparently, this land has lured quite a few surfers into the town, who now advertise the sleepy nest on the internet. You let yourself sink a little deeper into the upholstery. Slowly but steadily, the bus chugs through the countryside. Not the fastest, but definitely a cost-effective way to move around. And the best thing, Lenny hasn't mentioned anything about sharing the gas money yet. You hit the jackpot. With these blissful thoughts, you drift into a light sleep. Uh-oh. I'm gonna wake up with something stuck somewhere. Alright, at some point, the vehicle leaves the country road and turns near a wooden sign that says Innsmouth, written in big red letters, which are slowly peeling off the sign. Your journey continues along narrow and bumpy country lane with lots of potholes. In the distance, you can already make out a few houses, seagulls circling the roof on the far side of the coastal town. You approach another wooden sign with the words "Cars on Diversion" scrawled on it messily. An arrow underneath points to the right. The sign points away from the route that leads directly to Innsmouth, presumably a diversion. You are sure the other board directly underneath, with the words "other routes," actually points in the direction leading directly into town. Odd. Lenny is already indicating he wants to turn into the diversion lane. Don't get involved. Ask him to follow the other routes sign. Better not follow the diversion. Can't we just continue straight ahead? We're nearly there anyway. Lenny scratches his chin and indeed steps on the brakes. Looks like he's in agreement with you about the diversion. You know what? You're right. Let's do it. Lenny switches off the turn signal and continues to follow the direct route into town. How strange. Your van drives past a huge scrapyard parking lot, all the way out here in the middle of nowhere. So far out of the actual town, you pass another wooden sign, flaked off letters that tells you this is supposed to be the Innsmouth Park and Rest area. A lot of the cars give off the impression that they've been parked here for a very long time, potentially years. Mine's in has covers and bonnets and windscreens. Wow. No, I don't want to become famous Warcraft, you piece of crap. Bad. Alright. How do I get rid of that? There. Close. Nailed it. Dude, he shouts enthusiastically, puts the heavy metal CD into the CD player, turns the volume all the way up to 11. He starts headbanging, of course. The CD player is struggling mightily with the brick road and interrupts the music every other beat to buffer for at least 5 seconds. Lenny does not seem fazed by this. You're pretty sure this is what hell must be like. The endless fields and meadows turned into narrow alleys. Is this a one-way street, do you think? You almost wish for an oncoming car or anything that would really force the car to stop so the CD player would at least have a chance to play its music for just a bit longer. But no luck, no oncoming traffic in sight anywhere. As you look around, your first impression is one of surprisingly idyll. Innsmouth is an old town even by New England standards. Many houses seem to be from the 19th century but are in good condition. Or they've at least received a new lick of paint not too long ago. It's just that roads are now worryingly narrow. Your side mirrors have been scraping along the brick walls, and you think it's really impressive that Lenny's bus isn't getting seriously damaged by any of this. Whoa, how close was that? He says after scraping around a corner. Man, I got real bus surfing skills. Lenny's enthusiastic voice repeatedly cuts through the white noise as it settles in your brain. Together, you and your brain decide to jump out of the driving car at the next best opportunity. With quick steps, you make your way into the town center and to a direction of the coastline. Not long ago, the sun was bright in the sky, but already the first wafts of mist are creeping into the streets. The air feels heavier and the sun can no longer penetrate the fog. It's time to think about where you want to go. You slow down, leaning your briefcase against the wall. You start pacing along a quiet alleyway. You've got an important choice to make right now. The city center is in the north. Even from afar, you can see the outlines of an old and ornately decorated buildings in the main town square. Here, you should find a police station, the main shopping street, and of course, town hall. As a coastal town, Innsmouth also has a harbor. During your research, you found out that this is a busy area, which includes a dreamy beach. You expect there to be mostly tourists. The old town, according to your research, has the only hotel in town, the Gilman Hotel. You could decide to check in and freshen up. Just when you want to get off, your heart leaps into your throat. Where a moment ago your briefcase was leaning against the wall is now nothing. Disturbed, you walk up and down the street, peer into alleyways over a fence, but there's no one in sight. Did you actually bring your briefcase and put it down here, or are you going mad? At least you can take comfort in the idea that the thief will be surprised by what he will find when he opens the briefcase. Pieces of paper with phone numbers but no names on them, sweets, scrunched up underwear. You think you can cope with the loss of your briefcase. Lucky that you didn't take anything actually useful or valuable on your trip. You check the alleyway one last time. Apart from a pair of moving curtains on one of the windows, you don't notice any clues that could lead you to the culprit. Doesn't matter now, but important to keep moving. There are only a few hours left until the sun goes down. First thing you visit is the city center in the north. Why the hell not? Innsmouth Town Square, a beating heart of the city, a big attraction for local tourism, is animated by groups of visitors who are chatting away in the sun. A lot less animated are the lethargic locals who are lurking about the square. A rather creepy-looking fountain is in the middle of the square. A gigantic fish-like stone statue stretches its claws towards the sky with water flowing out of its menacing jaw. The water sprays into the air, providing a refreshing breeze into the tourists sitting around the edge of the fountain. Looking at it closely, it all rather looks like a giant drooling fish monster. The square is surrounded by handsome old buildings, although the side streets reveal the true Innsmouth, crumbling facades just far enough away that the average tourist doesn't notice them immediately. You also notice the mean grimaces of the gargoyles sternly looking down on the visitors from the corner of the buildings. Make a mental note to block out the Innsmouth architecture in the future. At first glance, you can see the town hall and the police station behind the fountain. There should be a few more public facilities nearby, but you don't notice anything right away. I'm gonna go to the police station. One sec. Sorry about that, just had to respond to a message. You enter the precinct and find yourself in a small foyer. A counter separates visitors from the actual office of the police station. Police officers on duty. Standard practice. Observed even in a cranky little town like Innsmouth. A chilly and not particularly inviting old building with only a single narrow window on the northernmost wall. The room is bathed in yellowish light, but rather than a warming glow, it's much more like a warm sick. Yellowed wallpaper is about to come loose from the walls, probably a process that has been ongoing for years, the exciting finale of which you can witness today. Almost every one of the poisonous green tiles on the floor has cracks or other small damage. A policeman is on the reception desk duty. He looks at you through dull eyes. The police station gives off the same lethargic vibe that you've come to expect from Innsmouth by now. But who knows? Maybe they can help you. Maybe they can help you anyway. You look around, talk to the guard personnel. Okay, get down to the point. The life of the little girl is in danger. The wooden floorboards creak under your shoes as you approach the cop. They sound like moaning of an audience somewhere in the distance, commenting on the display of epic stupidity. The cop on duty has been watching you intently ever since you entered the room. He clears his throat before talking to you. Look at this dude. So you want to file a missing person report? Yes, that's why I'm here. No, why would you assume that? Cop seemed briefly surprised. Well, it's just what most tourists... He stops himself mid-sentence. All of a sudden, the papers in front of him have become super important, and he starts making neat piles that are perfectly perpendicular to the pen and ruler. It's pure zen to behold. When he's done, he returns his attention to you. What do you want? Is this not the library? Say your goodbyes. Why are there so many people reported missing here? He stares at his newly arranged desk and adjusts the objects even more. Only an electron microscope could now show any inaccuracies still present in this arrangement. Then all of a sudden, the cop gets up, murmurs lunch break, and disappears into the back office. Question time appears to be over. You're now all alone in the foyer of the police station. Look through the policeman's papers. Quick look left and right, and no one in sight. You grasp the opportunity to inspect the desk. You notice your heart beating loudly in your chest. You start reading through the cop's papers, but sadly you can't find anything apart from crossed-out tic-tac-toe games and amateur doodles. A worrying amount of people are strung up on gallows. He's definitely not made any recent notes that you consider useful. Why did the man have 18 cucumbers on his shopping list? Disappointing. You step away from the desk. You keep looking around. Initially, upon inspection, the foyer doesn't reveal anything new beyond the entrance door. Or behind the entrance door, in a blind spot, you notice a yellow poster with the slogan, Bouncer. The police dog says, paws off the drugs. Underneath, there's a faded drawing of a dog riding a unicorn over a rainbow. You can't help but thinking that poster has a contradictory message. Yes, it most certainly does. You look up at the ceiling and notice a CCTV camera you hadn't spotted when you entered the station. Normally you'd expect this in a police station, but this is the first object in the room fabricated after the turn of the century. Lucky for you noticed the camera before doing anything stupid. Oh, wait. From the room next door, you can make out some sort of common rustling and voices, and then suddenly a door opens. Several cops enter the room. All eyes are trained on you. It's called the Innsmouth Case. It's like not a murder mystery, but it's a mystery text adventure. I can explain this. You say and preemptively raise your hands. Although no gun has been pointed at, your intuition, as you have to admit it, usually pretty useless, but something's stirring right now, and all signs point to danger. These people are not here to help you. They're watching you and trying to trip you up. The cop you were talking to earlier has dropped his apathetic facade. He now reminds you of a shark circling a broken shark cage, with you inside the cage. Oh really? Go ahead, Sunshine, he says with a malicious grin. What were you doing just now? Obtaining unauthorized access to police documents is a crime. I thought this was the way to the restroom. I was admiring your drawings. No reaction. The cops exchange glances and then collectively start laughing out loud, the kind of scornful, derisive laughter that spells trouble. As if reacting to some sort of silent signals, they all start moving again, start surrounding you like a pack of hyenas. The undertrained part of your brain responsible for logical thinking starts worrying. Are these policemen actually making fun of you, or are they in on the whole thing? Before you can pursue this line of thought, something hits you in the back of your head. Damn, dude. Your head is pounding and you feel numb and lethargic. You fade in and out of consciousness. Memories visit you, pleasant ones that hail from better times. Then you return to reality. Reality is not at all attractive. When you open your eyes, the flickering source of light blinds you. You carefully stretch your arms and legs, still unsure of where on earth you are. Are you dead? No. Your gaze wanders over the metal bars on the stone wall into which those who came before you have carved messages. You are lying in a cell, although the word cell doesn't quite capture it. These are more like cages, which are only separated by thin metal bars. No cot, no toilet. Damn it, they didn't even give you a bucket. Someone must have given you a good beating from your scraped cheeks and hands after you deduced you were dragged here afterwards. In the cell to your right is a woman with her back against the wall. To your left, an unconscious young man with disheveled hair, lying face down. Hey, that's our buddy, the hippie. You look around the cell, inspect your surroundings. You get up and quickly knock the dust off your coat. A quick rummage through your pockets confirms your worry. All your belongings were taken before you were incarcerated. Your cell neighbor pays no attention to you. She sits on the cold floor with her knees bent, her arms wrapped around her legs, her gaze directed stoically into the distance. What is she looking at? The door leading out of this crypt. Even if you magically opened your cell door, you'd have to overcome the metal door. You squint your eyes to get a better overview of the situation. The door has a narrow slit at eye level through which light falls into your prison. You think you may be hearing distant voices, but that maybe you're just imagining it. Or maybe you're just imagining that. See if I can talk to the guy first. The guy in the cell next to yours has been knocked out too. Maybe you can wake him up. 3 people trying to figure out things are better than 2. He's lying on the floor, spread-eagled. Shout at him. Taking a closer look at the guy, you think it was like one of those insufferable surfer types. But high paying, who don't get out of bed before 11 a.m. Wow, if you get out of this in one piece, you should definitely talk to a psychiatrist about some of your attitudes. You take a deep breath and, hey, not so loud, damn it, the one behind you hisses. The reaction from the slumbering stranger is rather disappointing. He turns over on his back and only gives off a satisfied sigh. Leave him alone. Oh well, this guy doesn't seem like much help anyway. And given his tasteless Hawaiian shirt, he seems to have far bigger problems than being locked up in a dungeon in Innsmouth. You look around the dark cell, we're going to talk to the woman. Hey, given the circumstances, no one can expect of you to come up with something more creative. She turns towards you with a sigh. Slept well? You rub your cheek. Big mistake. Your head feels like one big bruise. Yeah. This is completely insane. They got me, you begin, but she interrupts you. You're innocent. The police or a bunch of lunatics got you on some pretext. You either been stupid enough to come here on holiday or one of the detectives. One of the detectives? What? How do you know? She rolls her eyes. Have you still not figured it out? There is no missing girl. A desperate father or a worried mother shows up somewhere asking for help. That's how they lure people here, like me, for example. A brief smile on her lips. So simple, so efficient. Who are you? You blurt out. That question could have been phrased a bit more elegantly, but this is perhaps not the time for formalities. Kate, my pleasure, the woman replies, monotonously. I am here for the exact same reason as you, I suppose. She listlessly starts imitating a falsetto voice. My little girl is missing. I'm so worried. An accurate portrayal of Dahlia. You have to give her that. And this, she nods towards the peacefully slumbering surfer dude, is Lunny, who is here on vacation. She laughs softly. You look towards the slumbering man. You cannot believe your eyes, but you definitely recognize the crazy hipster hairstyle. It's Lunny, you're right. Small world, you mumble thoughtfully. What's going to happen to us now is one of the many questions on your mind right now. At least it's in the top 3 of all your questions. In addition, how can a degenerate man from Innsmouth knock you out so easily? And would the telekinetically gifted evil mutant twin in this horror movie from the 80s have become much nicer had his parents not baptized him? Belial, but Steve. The woman frowns at you. How the hell should I know? She looks away from you and, as before, stares at the metal door at the end of the room. There have been scrambling, rattling sounds. The door is being opened, but I guess we are about to find out. Hard to tell which is worse, the squeaking sound of the rusty hinges, or the light flooding in the basement and blinding your eyes. A figure approaches. It takes your eyes a few seconds to adjust and take in who is standing in front of you. It's a cop, and he's not alone. The policeman looks down at you with a condescending grin, then fumbles with the lock on your cell. From the corner of your eye, you can see that more visitors are entering the cell room. They seem less amused by the situation, chewing on their bulging lower lips. They keep an eye on you and the other two. In their hands, they hold burlap bags. I hope I didn't keep you waiting for long, the cop says in a chatty tone. I wouldn't want visitors to get a bad impression of Innsmouth. He opens the cell and grins at you. And you're coming with us now. I'll play along. It's 4 against 1. Your fellow inmates are still in their cells. You'd have to be pretty stupid to try anything. You do as you're told and step out of your cell. The cop with the key nods and starts to unlock the woman's cell. Kate, meanwhile, has gotten up. With an expressionless face, she stares at the cop who avoids her gaze. He motions for her to come out of the cell. Something is being pulled over your head. Suddenly everything goes dark and smells of potatoes. Just great. This coward of a cop has put a burlap bag over your head. Your hands are pulled behind your back, and you can feel how a scratchy rope is being wound around your wrist and pulled tight. Someone has to carry our surfer boy. He's still completely out of it. Now, let's get a move on. Go, go. 2 hands grab you by the shoulder and push you down a long, winding corridor. It's probably the discreet way out of the police station. At least that's where you assume you must have been. Someone mumbles the word staircase. But it comes too late and you fall flat in your face. The hard edge of the staircase rams itself into your forehead. Someone behind you laughs, a nasty, rattling laugh. He goes on your nemesis list. Sorry. This day seems to turn more and more unpleasant. After several corridors, stairs, boxes, and other stumbling blocks, the obstacle course comes to an end. Your shin bumps against the metal and well-intentioned pressure against your shoulders to move you slightly elevated surface. Next to you, Kate falls on her face too, cursing loudly. Well, at least you are not the only victim here. A problem shared. Someone pushes your leg forward, and a muffled sound can be heard. You're beginning to catch on with what's going on. An engine sound confirms your suspicion. You're being transported in some sort of car. You're still pondering where you might be taken when you are being thrashed painfully against the metal wall as the car makes a sharp turn. Oh, crap. When the car races down a third cobblestone road that you stop being able to tell how long you've been in the car. You also stop counting the number of bruises you've acquired on this trip. By now, you also have given up trying to get into an upright position. During the ride, you keep bumping into Kate and the dopey surfer dude. He seems to have woken up from his nap by now, and every pothole the car drives over, he enthusiastically shouts, "Party!" or "Woo!" from inside his burlap bag. Your personal internal vengeance list has been replaced by a wipe Innsmouth off the face of the earth plan, which seems far more doable and pressing. The car ride seems to go on forever. Let's talk to Kate. As you lie there, bound and gagged, hooded in the darkness, it occurs to you that this is the perfect opportunity to get to know the woman next to you better. As your gagged bodies roll back and forth on the shaky ride, you ponder what to say to her. You clear your throat and flirt with her. Yeah, let's flirt with her. What the hell? Oh, why the hell not? When all this is over, you speak in a burlap sack over your head. We could meet up, couldn't we? You wait for an answer, a sigh, a kick, anything. Nothing. Be quiet. Suddenly your weight shifts around. It seems like it's going downhill. Everything feels bumpier than before, and the car had come to a sudden halt. Front doors of the van squeak open, and they're slammed shut again. You hear voices outside. Quite a lot of voices. Some cheerful laughter, too. The door to the back of the van is now being unlocked. People shout, "Go, go, go!" and several hands grab your calves and drag you out of the van. Now there are even more hands tightly clasping your arms and shoulders. You notice a little alarmed. Your hips, too. Say something. A good private investigator tries to establish a connection with the people even in the most extreme situations. I'm looking for this girl. Where are you taking us? Mercy. Where are you taking us? A painful smack on the back of the head is all you get as a response. Shut up. Keep walking. Damn it, man. You decide to retain your dignity and wait. Maybe these gentlemen are more keen to talk to you once they've brought you to wherever they are supposed to deliver you. The stress and responsibility of kidnapping, tying up, and carting innocent tourists off the night must be weighing heavily on your shoulders. With a jerk, the hood is pulled off your head. You find yourself on the beach. The sea is rippling in the far distance. It must be a low tide. You and your fellow captives are surrounded by several sinister-looking men. The only thing that this pitchfork mob is missing are torches and, well, pitchforks. Their leader steps in front of you and points in the direction that you're supposed to walk. In between a jagged rock formation, you can make out a hidden path that seems to be leading into the inside of a rock cave. It goes down quite deep. Watch your step. You don't want to be impaled by stalactites, stalagmites. Stalagmites, you pipe up. What? Stalactites are in the form in the ceiling of caves and are pointed downwards. So what you're referring to are stalagmites. Something hits you in the back of the head. Dagon doesn't like wise guys. Someone snarls, "Oh, please." You are too far off with torches. Villagers distribute old-fashioned oil lamps among themselves before you all enter the cave. Your shoes are soaked full of salt water after only a few steps, but you barely notice. The lamps in front of you reveal ever new paths, twists, and turns. After what feels like an eternity, you wonder if by now you have traversed the entirety of Innsmouth underground. Whoa. Where might they be taking you? Look over your shoulder. When the path ahead seems to be reasonably level, you risk looking over your shoulder. Two of your kidnappers walk directly behind you. Between them, you can see Kate's face in the flickering light of a lamp. Her serious, impenetrable facade has cracked, and you notice the visible concern on her face as she stares into the darkness that lies ahead. Before you can make out money anywhere, the people walking behind you push you. Look to the front. For the longest time of your arduous pilgrimage, your little group was just a tiny floating island of light amid the darkness. But now you can finally make out another flickering light in the distance. It's a simple light, yet it's enough to give you hope that you won't die in the subterranean darkness. As you approach the source of light, you recognize two men in dark, strangely patterned robes, but carry a torch in their hands and jagged staffs that look a lot like pitchforks. Everything is ready, one of them shouts over to you. The man walking in front of you just waves back without actually replying. You would really like to know what is exactly that has been prepared, but you get the sense that it'll all be revealed soon. You follow your two captors down a narrow passage that has been carved into the rocks of the cave. Columns decorated with ornaments support the ceiling of the cave. You are now in a winding corridor, and you can't make your mind up as to whether you think the walls are man-made or not. The walls seem to be shifting and moving depending on how the light illuminates them. Then you have arrived. Alright, it's been almost an hour. Why don't we take a little bathroom break? Oh, that's okay, Wayne. No, I totally understand that. I'm gonna be streaming probably Friday night, I would think, for 2 or 3 hours. And it's only gonna be for another hour today, so you're really not gonna miss a whole lot. I don't think. I don't know how long the game is, but yeah, we're gonna take a quick little 2-3 minute break, a little bathroom break, grab a drink, coffee, whatever, and then we'll be back. And I guess we'll see you next time, Wayne. Probably in about 4 days ish, if you're around on Friday. It'll be later at night. I won't probably start streaming till 5 p.m. my time. I think 10 p.m. your time, and it'll only be, like I said, 2 or 3 hours maybe. Same thing as before. And I get it when you want to ask something and you can't get a reply. I totally get that, man, when I'm like, oh, dude, I have the answer to the question that the streamer's asking, but I can't say anything. All right, well, you enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your dinner. And we're going to pause here for a quick sec, and I'm just going to leave the screen up, and we're going to listen to some kick-ass music for a few minutes here. All right, dude, take care of yourself, and I'll see everybody else in about 2-3 minutes. Alright, everybody, we're back. So, you have arrived at your destination. Your eyes need a moment to adjust to the new environment, which is illuminated by flickering fires. It's pretty cool that they're actually flickering. Your group enters a hall in which the ceiling is supported by 4 broad columns. The moment you step through the archway, a lump forms in your throat. There is something in the air that takes your breath away, the smell of death and decay. And bad breath. The origin of the latter is easy to make out. A big mob armed with what else? Torches and pitchforks is waiting to welcome you on the other side of the hall. The blazing fire of the torches gives a tint of hellish nightmare to the whole scene. Only as you walk closer do you realize that in the center of the hall is an abyss extending into some unknown depths. So far, your footsteps were the only sound echoing through the place, but now you can make out another sound. A faraway murmur of the sea. Calculate your flight opportunities. You are still surrounded by your captors. The room in which you find yourself offers you only 3 escape options. First of all, of course, the corridor from which you've just come. Without a torch or any other source of light, however, you won't be able to cover the dark route without being impaled by some sharp rock. The Innsmouth mob must have come here via a different path. Behind the gleeful-looking horde facing you, you can make out a black gate. This path looks much less dangerous, but unfortunately, there are a lot of dark figures in the way. Option number 3 gives you a queasy feeling in your stomach. It's the dark abyss in the middle of the room, which seems to flow directly into the ocean. Ooh. Try to look out for others. You search for familiar faces, but you can only make out the moronic grimaces of your kidnappers. Someone jostles you impatiently from the side, and you march on towards the mob. It's eerily quiet. Under the watchful eye of creepy creatures, you are being led into the raised platform. You risk a look down into the abyss to estimate its depth, but you can't see the bottom. The crowd cheers and waves the torches. Fatagan. One of the kidnappers cuts your ties in 2, then lines you up. You travel escort to blend into the mob. Your instinct tells you that any wrong move could be your last. The 3 of you now face a huge pack of the final specimen that Innsmouth has to offer. The glances of emotionless, bulging eyes rest on you, and the monotonous chorus song rises from the swollen gray lips. Aya Cthulhu Fatagan. Aya Cthulhu Fatagan. After what feels like an eternity, the crowd splits. From its midst, a tall figure in a black robe emerges and slowly approaches you. The villagers look at it with awe. Time seems to stand still as the mysterious figure walks towards you. Aya Cthulhu Fatagan, the villagers croak. A stocky figure with a receding chin follows closely in the shadow of the mysterious stranger. You have seen many of his kind today. The hooded figure remains silent. Instead, his helper takes the floor. It echoes through the hall again. The swollen, milky eyes of the little man wander over the assembled crowd, whose chants become quieter with each repetition. Brothers and sisters, the man begins to say. Dagon will be grateful for you coming in such large numbers today. Today's sacrifice is led by the robe bearer. Behind him speaks his arms. Gary. Cthulhu Fu. A collective moan comes from the crowd. The robe figure drops his arm limply. His helper looks at him in disquiet, then limps back to the anonymity of the crowd. The hooded man puts his hands on his hips. Seriously, guys? Seriously? He lets the question linger for a bit. Do you think this attitude is helpful when trying to run this show? Do you think I enjoy this? I agree with Gary. Good moderation is partly dependent on the audience, you pipe up. If no one is interested in the subject, even the best speaker in the world cannot succeed. A hesitant murmur goes through the crowd. Gary turns to you and looks at you fascinated as if he's not noticed you for the very first... Sorry. As if he's just noticed you for the very first time. That. Thank you, he points at you. Precisely that. He looks over his shoulder towards the congregation. Because if you don't join in, we might as well all go home. From the corner of your eye, you can see that Kate is staring at you in disbelief. A few people from the mob roll their eyes and rest their heads in... The rest let their heads hang in shame. Sorry, some of them murmur. Suggest that everyone goes home. Well, I really wouldn't mind you, Ed. I have to work on Monday. I praise Gary folds his hands. Nice try, buddy. But we have a deadline tonight. Deadline. Get it? Embarrassed laughs come from the mob. Sure. Sure, you answer in a tone as understanding as you can muster. Thanks, buddy, replies Gary. I'll have to buy you a beer afterwards, but oops. He makes an apologetic gesture with his arms. I must sacrifice you. A small crisis with the villagers seems to have been dealt with. Gary focuses his attention on your small group again. He reaches between the folds of his robe and produces a golden decorated dagger. The mob starts chanting again. Gary's voice now echoes through the halls. The stars are in perfect alignment. Today we have 3 outsiders for the great harvest. The god himself will decide if they will be granted mercy or if their blood will stain the ocean. Your heart begins to pound as you hear these words. Oh dear God, no. So mercy is an option. Maybe there's still hope for you after all. This sacrifice we offer you, O Father Dagon, Mother Hydra. The priest points the dagger at your little group of 3. Who of you wants to be the first to hear Dagon's judgment? I'll volunteer. Oh, what the hell, it's like high school PE class all over again. If somebody doesn't set a good example, it's going to take forever. You raise your hand. Gary makes a delightful sound, which he immediately tries to cover up with a fake coughing fit. A volunteer, praise Dagon. The Innsmouth locals look at you skeptically. What do I need to do now? Okay, let's get it over with. What happens now? What do I have to do? High Priest Gary will set you perplexed. Sorry, this is a little unusual. This is the first time in the history of the Order that anyone has volunteered. Well, usually we have to drag people to the edge. And then they don't really ask for an explanation. Then why don't you demonstrate where I need to stand? The priest triumphantly waves the dagger in the air. That's a great idea. He turns to Kate and Lunny. And I'd like you two to watch carefully so we don't have to do this 3 times. The 2 of them look over to you. There's fear and confusion in Lenny's face. Kate looks livid with rage. You watch attentively as the high priest takes a few purposefully long strides towards the abyss. Elated, he turns on his own axis and stands with his arms outstretched and his back to the gaping abyss. If you hadn't been kidnapped and your life wasn't at stake, you might think that this was some sort of choreography competition. And then you'll wait here until I cut you with the dagger. He looks at you expectantly. I really don't know what to do. I don't think pushing him in there is going to actually do anything. I think he's going to end up moving out of the way and then I'll get stabbed. Whereas maybe if I'm standing at the precipice, maybe I can pull him in. Ooh, that's a tough one. Against my better judgment, I'm going to do push him. I think it's going to be that one, though. Nope, just it. The priest makes a grand gesture and points to the edge of the abyss. While you position yourself to the assigned place, your stomach gets a little queasy. The dagger is now directly pointed at your face. The point of the weapon is now dangerously close. Please, not the face. Anything but the face. In the shadows of the hood, you can make out that the high priest is covering his mouth. City folk, don't you worry, that is not what the Dagon is after, he says while waving the dagger in front of your face. You have no time to think about what he might have meant for that. The priest has already lifted his hand with the dagger in it, ready to strike. The high priest makes a grab for your hand. His grip is much stronger than you would have expected from a hypersensitive man named Gary. Determined, he cuts deep into your palm with the decorated dagger. A searing pain spreads along your arm. Has this dagger ever been cleaned? Utter silence is in the big hall. The only sound you hear is the rush of your blood in your head, your heart pounding loudly in your chest. The high priest grabs your wrists and holds your hand over the precipice. Blood drips from the open wound into the all-consuming darkness. The sacrifice we offer you, O Father Dagon. Is there really someone or something down there? Your insides cramp. Maybe that's all it is. Perhaps all they want to do is drip some blood into the abyss. They can have that if they like, several liters of it, as long as they let you go afterwards. The choir starts to sing again. The verse gets louder with each repetition. The sound of the sea seems to be getting louder. Waves start whipping against the walls of the cliff. No, those aren't waves. Nervously, you try to swallow. Only now do you notice how dry your mouth has become. Rumbling, splashing, whatever it is getting louder and is coming closer. Increasingly worried, you risk a glimpse into the abyss. Our sacrifice is worthy, cries the high priest, taking a step back. You would do the same, but your body is frozen to the spot. That's when it happens. Dark green tentacles crawl out of the abyss and loll about in the dim light of the torches. Your mind is struggling to process what you are seeing. The dark surface you refuse to call this abnormality skin does not seem to reflect light, but to absorb it, almost devour it. Writhing ball of shadows. Several tentacles leap forward and wrap themselves like iron shackles around your limbs and other parts of your body. It would take too much time to list exactly where these tentacles touch you, and it would not be an exaggeration to say that they are truly everywhere. Panic clouds your thoughts. You don't notice how Kate and Lenny recoil in horror, but you're being lifted into the air like a doll and pulled into the darkness. Then you are plunged into the sea. Salt water flows into your airways. And suddenly the tentacles stop pulling at you and only gently cradle you. When you open your eyes, you're staring into the huge shimmering yellow eye. The pupil has this strange otherworldly shape, and you've seen something like this before in deep-sea documentaries. This yellow eye is the last thing your human form ever sees. Then your transformation begins. Alright, so there's nothing that's going on here. Sorry, I was muted for a bit. I was just trying to get different endings, so there's not a whole lot that I could really talk about. I'm just kind of going through looking for different endings. I'm kind of repeating one now, but Dragon has accepted you. I'm not sure if there's really anything else we can do here. We can go back to the dungeon. We can try yelling at the hippie, see maybe if he does something for us. I mean, like I said, I could have talked over the whole thing, but I thought me just clicking through and getting the different endings really is what I was aiming for. So, are you dead? No, we're not. So we're gonna chat a little bit more here. Okay, you look around the dark cell, inspect your surroundings, talk to the man. Okay, guy in the cell, he's lying for a spread eagle. We shout after him, she's gonna snap at us. Scream at him again. Without even regaining consciousness, he stretches his arms in the air and whispers, "Party!" You realize that you may have been wasting your time. Doesn't seem like much help. Okay, we talk to her. Explain what we're doing. Have you still not figured it out? Missing girl. We did that one. How the hell should I know? Alright, so we got the cop. Now we're going to see if we can fight them, because I think that was an option that we had as well. Yeah, attack them. But you are pretty stupid. You wait until Kate's cell is unlocked, the main cop is now focused on her. Your time has come. The already insecure cop next to you doesn't even have time to defend himself. Fueled by the anger of his races, you ram your elbow against his forehead, your knee goes down. Everything is happening very fast now, but not like you planned. Against your expectations, Kate doesn't join in the fight. Instead, she looks at something behind you with a worried expression. Of course, there were two henchmen. Everything goes black. Damn it! Alright. Talk to Kate again. Flirt with her again. Try again. As I said, when this is all over, perhaps we could, if we manage to survive this, she interrupts you, then I will personally invite you to a friggin' fun fair. We'll have some cotton candy and some ice cream, and I'll get you stuffed animal out of those grab machines. Silently, you roll next to each other in the rumbling band. There's nothing left to say. It's nice to have something to look forward to. Yikes. Alright, so we got this. Yep, say something. I'm gonna try to go with all the opposite ones that I've done. Keep walking. Okay, so that wouldn't do anything anyways. Nope, nobody cares. No, none of these are going to make a difference in where we go. They're just going to smack us in the back of the head and tell us to keep going, so we'll do that. Okay, bad breath. So we're back in here. And I don't think there's any more that we could do, really. Well, okay, I volunteered before, so maybe we don't volunteer. I mean, maybe we can curb favor. Alright, thank you. Yes. Suggest everybody does. That one doesn't matter either. Okay, that one doesn't matter either. Oh, we can impersonate someone. Alright, so if we impersonate Kate, let's impersonate Lunny first. I'll do it. You imitate Lunny with an overly stupid voice. Here. If I was just here, oh man, you sound like a complete idiot right now. Fortunately, this diversion did not go as planned. Absolutely nobody fell for your cheap trick. Instead, you were attracted all attention. The locals look on skeptically. I think this is our first voluntary sacrifice, Gary happily says. Grab the dagger. At least this way we can try stabbing him. Attack him. You repeatedly move the weapon towards him, but with an ease and quick movement, Gary manages to evade you then again and again, then reaches out towards you. The high priest grapples the dagger from you. It cuts deep into your palm. Yep. And then we go into the pit. And that's the end of that one. Okay. Okay, so that's done. Okay, let's go back to this one. We'll just stay quiet the whole way through. So if we go all the way to the point where we can stay silent, we'll do that. Okay, got that one. That one doesn't matter. Okay, keep silent. Try. Not in your watch, you feel like you're back at school when the first 5 always intense minutes of your math class when your teachers always ask to check homework. Whatever, you're not going to speak up. The high priest has approached you without noticing. Oh, damn it, you already know where this is going. Points towards the edge of the abyss. The dagger's now pointing directly in the face. Okay, not the face, doesn't matter. So it really doesn't seem like we can change the outcome of this. Yeah. None of this makes any difference at all. Okay. So I really don't think there's a new outcome that you can get from that. Like, maybe if we go in town square, we might find something else out, maybe. Because at the end of this, we could decide. I went to the police station first, but maybe we can go look at the fountain or relax vibe. So you do over the tourists, lots of space, the perfect place to go and relax. You sit down close to other tourists. Sinister-looking residents, the isolated tourist group stands out like a beacon of light in the darkness. Some of the Innsmouth residents shamble around the middle of the square, some lurking decisively in the shadow. In the narrow alleys, again and again, they stealthily glance at the tourists and at you. Trying to take shelter from the ominous glance as you rush over to the lively tourist, you sit yourself down next to a family who has an animated chat and are taking lots of pictures. They're eating their lunch from Tupperware and unwrapped snacks from aluminum foil. At once, you feel a little more secure. Around the fountain, the young son is in a dirty t-shirt, wedged worryingly tightly between mother and father on the edge of the basin. Daughter's probably going through some critical phase of puberty. She sits visibly discontent on the brick floor as if nobody in the history of mankind has ever suffered as much as she is right now, this very moment. Talk to the family. You decide to improve the family's holiday time by gifting them with your presents. The first impression counts. You decide with the rhetorical pizzazz you're going to dazzle them with. Lovely picnic you have there. Classic, according to your estimations. The parents are conservative and humorless enough to go for it. And you were right. The parents grunt happily while still chewing on their potato salad. Some gives you a bored look and apparently decides you're not worth the surplus ADHD energy. The parents keep wolfing down a potato salad while the kids have some very precise plans on how they want to spend the rest of their day. And somewhere back there, the boy enthusiastically gesticulates towards the dark alleyways. That's where the shopping street is. At the end of it are the telegames. Dad intros his meal. I didn't drive 500 miles so that you can play video games again. My mother puts down her plastic plate and starts to wheeze, her eyes wide as if in shock. So many questions. Ask the father what telegames are. Slap the mother on the back. Excuse me, but I'm looking for this girl. Slap the mother on the back. You walk up to the woman, hit her on the back as you're done, so she spits a lump of potato salad on the ground. Ever heard about chewing your food? The daughter replies, cracks. She barely looks up, keeps tapping away on her phone, complaining about the bad reception. The woman looks at you gratefully and wipes her chin in the paper towel. Oh dear, I must have been a bit eager there. Her husband giggles. The son deprived of attention because of your heroic deed glowers at you. Shall we? With these words, the parents start packing up their Tupperware and get up from the edge of the fountain. You don't have to look to know what the children are rolling their eyes. Off to the beach. Vamos a la playa. In a chipper mood, the parents wave at you as to move their children into the closest dark alleyway. Okay, enough time wasted. Where are you headed now? City Hall. Because we haven't been here yet, so we'll check this out. Innsmouth Town Hall. Impressed by its grandeur, you whistle as you enter the lobby. You glean as the sense of former wealth and prosperity of the place from before, well, whatever it was that happened here. A red carpet runs across the white marble floor, while green velvet curtains on the wall unsuccessfully try to hide some of the cracks in the massive wooden beams. Specks of dust dance in the rays of sunlight through the royal grand windows. You look up to the ceiling and spot a massive candelabra hanging ominously above your head. It's exactly the kind of thing that would draw up on baddies in the fourth act of the Caper movie. A series of ancient corridors go off to the sides into the belly of the bureaucratic beast. There must be offices with sinister civil servants dotted all around this place. Here in the foyer, only every third or of the few counters is actually manned. With this kind of morale among the people running the town, it's no wonder everything's a bit off. The clerks who are working seem to have placed bets on who can move slowest. A very normal town hall indeed. and just wander around for a bit. Wander around the ancient and dimly lit corridors of the town hall. Slightly rotting floorboards make a squeaking sound with every step you take. Board Innsmouth residents from very old to not quite as old sit on benches in front of the barely lit offices. A lot of offices are not actually staffed. You peek into the offices in which the doors have been left open or ajar. You're not sure whether these civil servants are merely on a break or whether they've simply melted into the carpet. Let's go into an empty office. Okay, a number of offices are unoccupied. They just look as dingy as those actually used by clerks, but locals clearly seem to be able to recognize the difference as they walk unerringly into the offices where there are actual clerks currently at work. You stick your head in one of the dimly lit rooms. A musty smell of old fish is in the air, mixed with decades-old dust. In the middle of the room is a desk with an attached drawer cabinet, surrounded by shelves on which far too many files were stacked. Some of them are scattered around the floor. Nobody seems to think it's necessary to tidy up. Floorboards groan as you enter the office. Examine the desk. You wander around the desk, get around an uncomfortable office chair. Its upholstery seems to be filled with pointed springs, which are all in the most impractical places. Pity for the poor soul who actually has to work here. I think a thick layer of dust covers the table surface like a protective blanket. The wood is solid and firm, the kind of wood you've always wanted for your own office. Financially, however, it was only enough for the papier-mâché building foam versions. The first drawer contains lined notepads of varying sizes. They are yellow and fibrous, Sorry, that's messing me up. You're tempted into stroking the top sheet with your hand in fascination. A few pencils and ballpoint pens are scattered next to the sheets. Open one of the files. Achievement unlocked, I want to believe, the I-files. In movies, there's often abandoned folders in which very important information can be found. Often they hold incriminating photos and handwritten notes like, I bought drugs today from Russian child traffickers. Just once, you would like to come across one of those files during your own investigations. Instead, today you find a record of fines for non-compliance with glass wool installation regulations from 1978. My birth year. Another folder seems to contain a type of citizen's register from the same year. You see birth dates, weddings, and death dates noted. Relatively carelessly, you scan the list for known names. You're about to put the folder away when you know some strange things after all. The inhabitants of Innsmouth seem to be surprisingly sprightly. Comparing birth and death dates, the average age is 90 plus years, with some well above that. Life expectancy usually goes down in poorer areas, and Innsmouth is definitely a poor town. Then you spot a euphemism noted down near the date of death that you haven't come across before. Went into the sea. Presumably this has to do with this place being a fishing village where locals might disappear at sea. A possibility of a missing person returning cannot be ruled out. Either that or Innsmouth has a mob problem that made a lot of people sleep with the fishes. Maybe it's that a lot of fishermen in their 90s are falling off their boats. Maybe. It's also strange that in many marriages the name of the spouse is not noted or known. Many John and Jane Does can be found in the records. You're wondering if this is illegal in some way. As far as you're aware, you can't get married anonymously outside of Vegas. Maybe Innsmouth has some sort of loophole. Soon you have finished reading the whole folder and have not come across any names that ring a bell. Well, except for the one guy who has the same name as your father, even has the same birthday. You should probably talk to your father about it sometime. Leave the orifice. A shiver goes down your spine. You might not be able to spot impending danger, but your gut feeling really lets you down. Clearly, it's time to go. Talk to one of the civil servants. And why not? The locals have been motionless on the chairs outside and don't take notice of you. As soon as you step into the room, all oxygen disappears from the air. It's unlikely that you will ever enter the ancient burial chamber of a decaying pyramid, but you imagine it comes close to this. Hey, it's a little bit darker than the office in the corridor. A blind on the window of the old building prevents any natural light from entering the room. In the yellowish glow of a desk lamp, you can see the outlines of a civil servant who's hiding out here. Small, plump man whose fingers dig into the edge of the table. He was obviously not expecting visitors during his working hours. A thin film of sweat covers his forehead. It almost looks as if someone poured a pot of syrup over the poor chap. You're reminded of an animal documentary you watched in one of your fits of boundless boredom. There was this bug, or was it a toad? Fact is, the man reminds you of something small and slimy. At the front edge of the desk, there's a nameplate that reads, Mr. Wilson. What do you want? His hiss is annoyed. You show him a Polaroid picture of Tabitha. Have you seen this girl? Her name is Tabitha Marsh. No, now get out of here. You can't just come in here without an appointment. A lump is forming in your neck. The officer didn't even look at the photo. His pupils didn't even move an inch. They're still fixed on you. When he says appointment, it's breathy, almost sensual. But maybe you're just imagining things. Okay, I'm going. You growl back with as much confidence as you can muster. You wasted a lot of time here. Your way out of the office leads you past a still unmoving body which is curled up on a waiting bench. You wonder how long it will take Will take until someone takes care of that poor soul. Go to the mayor. You can't just sit around and wait. You walk along in a few dark corridors until you come to a massive door with the shiny oak wood panels. It's bigger than any other doors, so this must be the right place to come. So you walk into the room and lift your hand to shield your eyes from the light. A bright and clean office, just as if you stepped into another dimension. A man in a fitted suit and lots of gel in his hair looks up and gives you a formal smile. Come in, how may I help you? Next to him, on a much smaller gray desk, sits a hunched figure in a cowl. Must be his assistant. The man rushes to you. Hello. Ah, hello. The assistant now gets up too and walks behind the mirror so as to follow your conversation better. Judging from your colorful clothes, I can tell you're not from here. He points to your trench coat. I'm Mayor Van Pond. Welcome to our beautiful town. I hope you're enjoying your visit. Well, Oh, don't say anything. I know exactly what you're thinking. You heard about our idyllic little seaside town and come here and experience it for yourself. Maybe you've even chatted with a few of the locals here. Just an innocent chat as you do when you visit a new place. You talk and notice more and more of the little people here are different. They're quieter. You could call it humble even. You start to feel dizzy. How long is this guy going to talk without pausing for a breath? You've got to understand, though, the courageous people in this town are honest people, fishermen, weather-beaten, farmers of the ocean, the oldest trade in the world. They're not so well versed in marketing, so I'll be the first to admit that at times it can be odd to people from the outside of town. Really, they all have a heart of gold. What brings you here? What is it that you do as mayor of such a remote town? A better question would be, what aren't you doing? What is it that you don't do then? Oh, one moment, please. The mayor leans over to the other side and decides to whisper something in his ear. Of course, one is not involved in any legal activities. Neither is one a Manchurian candidate for the esoteric order of Dagon. Esoteric Order of Dagon? What is that supposed to be? The local yoga club? Yes, that's right. You're not from around here. The EOD is the most popular party in Innsmouth. Since its rise to power, this sad and gray fishing village has turned into a vibrant tourist destination. We are so close to getting our own map entry. The buzzer whistles something into the mayor's ear. Oh, it appears that our request for our map entry has been declined, but I got very good feeling about next year. Wait, you're not on any global search engines. We're a bit under radar here, so there's no mobile reception and something is messing with other technical signals as well. But my party tells me that this will change soon. I cite the whole world will hear about us, whether they want to or not. Not sure what they mean by that, but sounds like free publicity to me. Marketing. What kind of marketing do you do here? There's just so much to do. The promise for my current term in office was to investigate the tourism sector, invigorate the tourism sector by at least 10,000% and bring more tourists with disposable income to Innsmouth. That would indeed be impressive. 10,000%? How did you manage that? Oh, very easy. before my term number was in negative figures. By just setting up a bus route that goes to Innsmouth once a week, the number of visitors has dramatically increased. My party therefore enjoys the utmost support of the townspeople, receiving 90% of all votes in the last election. What did the other three vote for? The advisor again was for something. I say that the opposition consists of a very committed extracurricular school group. Yeah. This Dagon sounds like you got some pretty good ideas. Good man, can I get involved in your club? The mayor and advisor lock eyes and both seem unsure what to make of your behavior. The monk-like creature says something into the Van Pawn's ear. The mayor nods and turns back to you. How exactly do you want to take part? Support the order. Well, the city seems to be in good hands. Do you still need election workers or something? Of course, the mayor hands you a handful of Vote Von Pawn buttons and a few stickers with the U.S. flag. You hope that there's a trash can on the way out. You raise your hands in defense, as if to protect yourself from another shower of useless babble. As you shuffle sideways to the door like some sort of crab, you say a few polite phrases. I don't want to keep you from your work. Sorry to bother you. Nice jack and have a nice day. The voice of the mayor still rings in your ears until the evidently soundproof door falls shut. Don't forget to vote. Yeah, you're in the back in the corridor. Alone. Inspect the lobby. Simply on the benches, doesn't wait their turn. Doesn't get bored, but you're surprised that you can't see anyone among those waiting who has brought a book, a magazine, or any type of technology to entertain themselves. No chats between parents, neighbors, or strangers. Only people waiting in silence. You want to catch them doing anything, even if it's just blinking, but after a while you give up. Okay, sit down in the waiting room. Stick by rules. Surely you'll be called up once it's your turn. In the middle of the room there's a few benches, which upon 6 men and women are spread. They all look up silently to the counters with the clerks. You sit down in the last position in the queue and hope for the best. Talk to the person next to me. You say to one of the people also waiting. He's a middle-aged man with a worn wool sweater. Thin blonde hair adorns his pale skull. You have to concentrate hard to actually look into his eyes and not stare at the veins that run very visibly under his scalp. He turns to you with a frown, which makes his wrinkled head even more. It takes a long time, far too long, to move his eyes from you to the photo. No. A smile flashes in the corner of the man's mouth. You're not quite sure what to make of it. You decide not to show him any more photos of minors in the future. The 3 clerks at the counter are dealing with their customers. From where you are sitting, you can see them listening to the villagers' concerns with expressionless faces. The occasional question, take down notes. Wait, notes. Your hands claw into the rotten wood of the bank. You can make out circling hand movements and pencils, and there are no monitors to be seen anywhere. Not even CRT monitors. These fools are still living in the Stone Age. There's no way they'll be able to help you. You decide not to waste any more time in the waiting area like these other poor souls. You walk away from the benches and leave the men and women there to their fate. Another plan is needed. Alright, you push a weight against the massive wooden doors of the town hall. Okay. So, a strange experience. You decide to avoid all of the town facilities in order to not waste any more precious time. Following an inner voice, you march towards the little alleyways. Okay, we haven't done this yet. Town center is dilapidated and completely dead. None of the footpaths maintained, and weeds have worked their way through every crevice. You notice carelessly dumped fast food packages, beer bottles, and other trash. Some of the narrow side streets have been houses. Between the houses are so crammed with bulky trash that you wouldn't be able to walk along them. Many of the houses are in poor state of repair. Cracked windows, loose wood boards hanging off walls, and doors nailed shut. It's impossible to tell in which color the houses were originally painted. You are struck by a bad stench several times, the cause of which you would rather not investigate. As you keep walking, you get to a kind of shopping street with a number of small shops. Half of them seem to be abandoned. The first shop on this corner is a snack bar. It's named Joe's Pizza and Burger. It's printed in big letters on individual sheets of paper. Right next to it, there's a shop for fishing gear, and then a hairdresser just a few doors down. In that shop window, you can see faded photos of the trendiest haircuts that the 70s had to offer. Behind your dresser, you can make out kiosks selling sweets and magazines, and also liquor store wedged between the two empty buildings. Opposite, you find a shop whose name seems to be Zan, judging by the window. It's a music store, and at the other end of the street is a building with the inscription Arc Am Akkad. The letters are made from neon tubes, but it appears to have been burnt out. So, Arkham Arcade. Never wrong place. Maybe some of the shopkeepers will be able to help tell you more about your client. So, Joe's Pizza and Burgers. When you enter the snack bar, you are struck by an appetizing smell of fat. Behind the counter is a gaunt teenager who looks like he's bored out of his mind. Name tag identifies him as Chud. Chud is wearing a stained white apron splashed with fat and other substances. His face is haunted by the most gruesome acne you've ever seen. He turns to you and stares at the spot somewhere on the wall behind you. Hey, do school kids ever come by here? Chud is obviously not interested in the conversation. It's a really strange question. Do you know this girl? You're holding a photo of Tabitha up to Chud. She's gone missing. I'm looking for her. He looks at the picture with indifference. Grab him with the tip. Alright, you pull a $20 bill in your wallet and wave around. As for your tip, show him the photo again, and maybe you'll add a little more service. Chud finally shows some motivation, but his eyes are more on the bill than on the photo. Let's see it again. At that age, maybe they know her in the arcades. That's where the kids are mostly these days. You put the bill on the counter. Lily Pizza Joe's. Okay, barbershop. Well, you noticed if that was a reflection of light, is actually dirt. There's no hygiene inspectors in this town. Enter. During the greeting, as you step through the door, the shop seems abandoned. A thick layer of dust has settled on chairs and upright dryers. A lime pattern adorns the wash basins and floor. Looks like some water damage that no one cared enough about to sort out. Just as you begin to wonder why this store was open at all, you hear a peaceful snore. Look behind the counter. Careful not to lean onto the dusty counter, you make out the source of the snoring. In a rather uncomfortable twisted position, a man in his 60s is lying on the ground with his head propped up on a shelf. Has he fallen off his chair? Has he injured himself? The man opens his eyes and quickly dart back, but you're sure he spotted you already. A hand slams on the counter, and soon the gentleman attached to the hand gets up. With embarrassment of a gentleman who has fallen asleep during a gala dinner, the shopkeeper adjusts his glasses. He stares at you in disbelief. What do you want? Ask about the missing girl. You're actually not at all interested in what's happening here, so you get straight to the point. With the Polaroid, I'm looking for a missing girl. The man glances at the picture, then at you. His right eye starts twitching uncontrollably, and he hisses at you. What do you want from me? Ask for a haircut. Saycroft Liver gasps for air and lifts himself for a few more inches. You want me to cut your hair? Of course. Goodness, if only you hadn't entered this store. The barber claps his hands and hurries over to the sink to prepare for a hair wash. Take off your hat and run your hands through your long flowing hair, through your locks, over your short haircut, over your bald head, over your long flowing hair. Take a seat in the chair in front of you, not so quite clean sink. Mr. Baldwin puts a cloth over your shoulders. You lean back, you head into the sink, and after some height adjustments, you manage to get into a relaxing position. You feel a stream of warm water on your scalp and hear a slight humming from the tap. Your hair is very well groomed. What would you like me to do today? Just trim the tips, please. Just the trim, please. Very well. During a shampoo treatment, you can feel the conditioner being massaged into your scalp. Feels good. You're beginning to enjoy this. After your hair is completely clean, Mr. Baldwin rubs it dry with a towel, asks you to sit on one of the chairs in front of the mirrors. The old barber sits down on a swivel chair, puts an old-fashioned fabric protector over your shoulders. He starts brushing your hair. Mention the missing girl. Nope, try small talk. Well, listen, the guy up and what else have you done today besides sleep on the floor? Your head is moved forward with a jerky movement. You can't tell whether this was intentional or not. Please, let me focus. The broom crusher tilts your head lightly. The barber probably has other worries than responding to your half-hearted, rather offensive attempts at conversation. Nearly done. The barber solemnly sorts out a few last strands of hair. With a content smile, he holds a small mirror to the back of your head. In front of you, the large mirror you admire your well-groomed hair. You crane your head back and forth to admire yourself and admire wonderful, skillful, perfect. Oh, you, the hairdresser interrupts you. Hey, you know we don't think much of strangers here in Innsmouth, but you're one of the finest people I've ever met. His hand lightly squeezes your shoulder, then he removes the fabric protector so you can stand up. You take another look at yourself and put your hat back on. Mr. Baldwin is already standing behind the counter typing into his old register. Sounds of the keys ring like music through the old dusty shop. You can briefly picture what life must have been like here when business was still flourishing. That'll be $25. Mr. Baldwin hands you the receipt with a polite smile. Your eyes start to water slightly as you count the loose bills in your jacket pocket. The old man thanks you and puts the money in the undoubtedly empty till. His hand strokes the counter and then ponders the dust on his fingers. I really should clean up sometime. He wipes off the dust at the edge of the counter and says and as a goodbye smile at you apologetically. Time to move on. To the arcades. The game's arcade is hard to miss. At the end of the shrill neon sign draws attention. You think it looks rather retro, although the people in Innsmouth would probably think it's state-of-the-art design. So you approach, familiar sounds start ringing in your ears. A heady mix of cheaply produced gun sound effects and mysterious sounds from pinball machines. A cocktail of synth effects gives you a jolt of nostalgia, annoys you. No. Happy Murderous Food floods your brain. Your first beat-em-up game when your opponent, a super limber septuagenarian yoga dude who played the boxer, ripped you apart, and all those exciting moments when you managed to win. The few tourist families who have ventured in the city center where you were all dragged in here by their excited children. Now you pass through the gates of a realm of flashing lights and bad ventilation. It's extremely dark, and the screens of the devices appear to be the only light source. Families, slackers, groups of teens, and individual children crowd together in front of screens to catch a glimpse of the games that are currently being played or have a shot to play themselves. The arcade is smaller than the elaborate archway initially suggested, but equipment is not so bad for a small coastal town. Okay, no matter how tempting it may be, you don't have time to enjoy yourself. Tabitha might be one of the children running around here. You guys passes over rows of younger players, but like a monster on the light, your attention is pulled again and again by the machines. Your resolve crumbles, and all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. No one will mind if you play for a few minutes. One of the most important lessons you have learned from not from your own cases from television is to look out for the small things. Only an absolute beginner would ignore the slot machines and look for the missing girl straight away. You, on the other hand, are playing a long game. Maybe you will see her name token on one of the high score tables. Maybe you'll be able to improve your reflexes, toughen your steel. How often? Okay, this is getting to be a lot. You're interested in, does it really matter? At least the games are cheap. They flash and beep. Try playing for a bit. There. We call it P-Fried. Okay, Street Kicker. Select the fighter. Probably Pixel War. Okay, pinball machines. Okay. Cork 3. Play Boom. Maison of the Living. Of the Unliving. House of the Dead. How old are you? Trying to ask, why do you care? He says, your elbow on the next person in the room. His friend those friends are wearing a boats and hose cap and some golden chains around his neck. Hey. Nope. Lie. Okay. 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 Can't recognize her, you leave the arcade. Time to go to the hotel. So this is one of the other spots that we haven't been yet. Okay, when you're about to give up, you search the Gilman Resign cozy spot somewhere on the curb. You see it, the outline of the hotel roof. Gilman Hotel is an architectural masterpiece. Although right now in the dark you can't make out many of its stylistic features. The hotel majestically rises 4 stories above the rickety houses that surround it. A sea of leaves glints the light of the moon. Must be ivy. An empty parking lot makes you think the hotel must have some rooms available. Felt like you've been followed for a long time. The growing paranoia and constant glancing over your shoulder, you'll be able to forget about it all very soon. Aaron touches the cold metal handle. You press down and pull it, but to your surprise, the door doesn't open. The hotel seems shut. Look for another way in. Metal bars in the front of the windows make it impossible to simply climb in, but you would at least hope to find a window which you could knock on and make yourself known to someone inside. They won't even let you give one of the night shift staff a good scare. All of the rooms inside the hotel seem to be complete darkness, including the foyer. No one is working. No one is having a drink at the hotel bar. Keep walking. The hotel somewhere, no such luck. Soon you're back at the entrance. It's hard to believe that in such possible days the hotel really does seem closed, but the hotel really seems to be closed. No one is allowed in or out for that matter. Do the guests know that, or are they locked out of the building overnight? Locked in the building overnight? Will there be another gormless tourist in an hour or two getting in like you are now? Not actually your problem, you remind yourself. So I left the hotel. You wander on the streets, the dark clouds spread out from the sea, clouds of ominous. You reach free. The sun has set and the temperature is dropping fast. The air too gets cooler and a rough wind whips through the alleys. You're lost. You have no idea how to get out of this godforsaken town, and as if there weren't bad enough, you also underestimated the September weather on the coast, and the real cold temperature is still yet to come. Scattered raindrops do not bode well. You aimlessly wander the streets, the narrow alleys, the labyrinth of simple wooden fishermen huts. At least you're not completely on your own. Look at that. Even at this late hour, there are groups of people out patrolling, with torches and pitchforks and knives and nets. Stay in the shadows. It's not necessarily the knives and the nets that make you worried, it's the limp that many of the villagers have that makes you nervous. The people who don't walk, they waddle, stagger, stumble, and shuffle with their upper bodies lifted up like malicious trolls in a fantasy film. You have found refuge behind some old barrels in a narrow side street. You would love to simply huddle up here, but in the middle of the alley, you are without protection against the rain. The pitchfork mob still hasn't noticed you. Keep moving through town. One alley follows the next. The ground is muddy and knee-deep puddles. The paths are lined with run-down huts consisting of nothing but a few bricks and corrugated iron roof piled on top of each other. You must be in the old town, an area that is definitely not being advertised in the travel brochures. The very moment your cerebellum wants to complain about being bored, you run straight into the arms of patrol. Oh, damn it. Although they have not noticed you yet. Undecided, the group is gathered in the middle of the road and seems to be discussing their options. Nevertheless, they are alert and keep checking their surroundings. You reckon that they will discover you soon, because here in your position, you are a sitting duck. Cover up your face. You grab a piece of cloth dangling from a barrel. The torn cloth stinks of rotten fruit, which is a welcome change from the rotten fish you've been smelling the whole evening. You walk up to the small group of townfolk. There, screams a man, blushy beard. He waves his torch in your direction. His friends limp towards you, their rags and rain jackets. Rags flap awkwardly against their bodies. Limping forward to form lunatics, they manage to surround you quickly. The white torches dancing in the rain. They lick their bulging lips. They wonder if the people of Innsmouth suffer from radiation poisoning. It would explain so much. Hey, you there, the leader of the mob sprouts at you. Oh, damn it. There you were, hoping to be able to sneak past the groupie group, but you somehow must have caught their attention. What are you doing here all alone? Oh, I'm just going for a walk. You say instantly, kicking rotten fish in front of you. He narrows his eyes. You're going for a walk on a night like this? Outrageous, people shout from behind. Pitchforks poking your buttocks. Meanwhile, the old fisherman steps up to you with his hand and massaging balls of skin, dangling from his face. Who are you? He asks suspiciously, as if by itself. Your hand touches the piece of cloth that covers your face. It's me, Mayor Von Pond. I don't think so, the leader hisses. Your inside's cramp. How can this be? How did they manage to see through your lies so quickly? We never walk around like we do, he whispers. Yes, he is. His entourage agrees. Can it be a sheep dwells among us wolves? Tears emits a throaty laugh, a bit unsure the henchman joined the laughter, and he knows him because something focuses on you alone. We're going to have fun tonight. Looks for something next to you before considering what the hell is happening. Something hits you in the back of the head, you lose consciousness, and I think we're going to be probably in a prison cell. Nope. Pungent smell of fish they almost gotten used to. Damn it, your cheek is pressed against something cool. You realize that you're lying somewhere out in the street. You open your eyes. The situation is not new to you. On several drunken nights in Boston, you have ended up near a trash can on a dodgy side street. This is perfectly normal. You go to raise your head and immediately regret moving. All you can feel at the back of your head is pain. You have no doubt you were knocked out. You try to touch your back of your head, but fail. You seem to be tied up. Okay, that's definitely not normal. 50 villagers have gathered around you. They held around small groups, relaxed, they rest the pitchforks and have their fishing nets loosely over their shoulders. Now and then they grin at you. Start complaining. You wonder if these gangsters have stolen your wallet, and indeed have they been in a crappy apartment in Boston. What about your goldfish Ale? You really should have fed him before you left, damn it. You're going to lose everything, but they will never take away your online pride of detective lessons. Awake already, applies Crooks. With great effort, you manage to look up. Who dares interrupt your fit of self-pity? Yuck, you say involuntarily. You've offended him. He doesn't show and gives a dirty grin. I hope you enjoyed your stay in our little town today, landlubber. Enjoyed it. Loved it here. Man blinks. What? But why? Fresh air. Fresh air. The nice people. People in Boston, the person next to you on Green Line could be on fire, and you wouldn't pay attention to them much. You are a tough guy, I'll give you that. I wonder how long it will last when you're on fire. Fire! Before you ask for more detail, you grab by the arms. Fishermen slightly approached you with noticing. They jerk you up in the air and carry you over to the square just a few yards to slow you down. Walking on something solid, you're standing by a stake. Two men in rags, those bulges in their cheeks undo your handcuffs, and then tie your arms around the central pole. That's all it's about. A bunch of ragged figures with deformed bodies that's gathered in the town square. They have crushed noses, gills, and psoriasis that covers their whole faces. You are certain that they have not yet met any of the horror figures today, or did you? Maybe they simply looked more harmless in direct sunlight. Finally, about time, someone shouts annoyed and drowns out all the conversations taking place in the town square. Solemnly march towards you, and all the other villagers make their way for them. Not everyone in Innsmouth can light a fire. Two of the men remain, and another spectate torchbearer. Yes, Abraham, several people respond and says a lot about Innsmouth people gin pool. Quiet. I mean everyone present. Satisfied, solemnly spreads his arms. You can now see the hand in which holds the torch is a single flap of skin wrapped around the log. The hour approaches before you fall silent. A dozen tourists walk out of the next alley along. The villagers look surprised and exchange baffled looks. Some look to Abraham for help. Abraham dry ups the torch. You earn some deeply hurt looks from the villagers, but their feelings are not as high up on your priority list to say surviving the night. First few break away from the group, come closer. A young blonde man takes selfies with you and himself at the stake. Hey you scream at him. But it drops in the way that lets you know the whole stream of objections is about to rain down on you. Oh my god, says the most expression with the nerve of a hillbilly to talk to me. He turns back on you and takes more selfies of the two of you. The worst thing about all of this, he seems to think you're from Innsmouth. A tourist stands in amazement before the stake. Right there doing Salem, sure, he replies, but that turns out to be the wrong move. Waves over his companions, the group of tourists assembles in front of the stake, which means the locals can no longer see you. Some of the rougher-looking men in the fish coats neighbor and speak to him. They're obviously getting nervous. Meanwhile, a few of the tourists break away. They take pictures of you at the stake. Talk to the tourists. What do you want? You gotta get me out here, you say feebly. Unbelievable that you have to explicitly ask for it. What's your problem, man? Asks. You plead in increasing desperation. I don't like that you're breaking character. Look, he just towards the wrecked villagers. Is he perhaps right? No, damn it. Yes, someone from the group of tourist mutters. Who just said that, you hiss, thrusting your chin forward aggressively. Your audience, consisting of tourists and increasingly intimidated villagers, takes a few steps back. All of these people are starting to get on your nerves. Now untie me, there will be blood, you scream as if in a frenzy. All of this is getting too much for the locals, and their numbers visibly dwindle. Unsettled by the presence of many tourists and your rage, they try to inconspicuously disperse into the dingy street sides that have led off to town square. It is Abraham, of all people, who unties you, murmuring apologies. He, too, disappears into the small crowd in the dark alley. Are you happy now, one of the tourists? Yes. Impossible, the man says. This sums up our thoughts exactly, succinctly. Disappointed that they were deprived of a free performance, the tourists shuffle on, and you can finally get out of here. You've made it.
Do you even know why you do the things you do?
I do not. Hey, Miss Pandy, how's it going? At least it's not raining anymore, but still freezing. You take a deep breath, pressure in your chest, builds up all during the day, and finally dissipates. Sweet relaxation. You will revel in as soon as you've made it back to Boston and safely have firmly planted you behind the leather couch. But how are you going to get home? You'll walk if you have to, damn it. Look around the parking lot first. Yeah, why not? I'm doing pretty good. We're actually just about to finish up. I think I'm almost done this game. The parking lot is surrounded by a fence made from some simple wooden beams. I hope you had a good Christmas and New Year's too, by the way. Mine was not too bad. Nice time with the family, and that was all I did. Gracefully jump over the fence, find yourself surrounded by many Miss Betty. Oh, one whole freaking year. Thank you so very much for the year. I truly appreciate you. That's freaking awesome. Thank you. Surrounded by many cars, the different makes. In addition, recent models you can see every day from your office. Some are real classics on display. Dealer's word, their antiques might get stolen. Middle of a overflowing parking lot. In the dead of night, you consider your options. Break into a car. Preferably one of the new models that screams out, take meaning my battery still has some juice left. Step 1, break in. You need to hurry up. There's no time for any extravagant stunts. You would like to smash the car window with your elbows like in the movies. Your weapon of choice, a stone that fits snugly in your fist, and will soon make an intimate acquaintance with the car window. Yeah, mine was great. It was just a simple thing with the family. My sister, my parents, and my sister's kids. Very simple, very quiet. And it was just nice to hang out at home and not go anywhere, not do anything. The window was cranked down. Fine. If you're responsible, some psycho might come along and steal the car. Without much delay, you pry open a plastic dashboard. When you halfway that many scenes from the TV movie, short seconds after, you just make up some nonsense, but it actually works. Car engine is howling. You put the car in reverse, maneuver around the parking space. The headlights illuminate many parked cars, which have been assembled here over decades. The shiver goes down your spine. The car dashes out of the parking lot and chases down the dirt road. Something tells you there won't be any oncoming traffic tonight. As you steer the car from the dirt road onto the next country road, you're overcome by a sudden sense of relief. The engine roars, and you speed off into the dark. So the 13th of November, this is like 9 days before we left. You jerk away. Only the pale moonlight seeps through the blinds of your apartment. It must be very late in the night. You're soaked in sweat, as per usual. You sit up on the edge of the bed and try to calm down. You're safe, you're at home, you manage to put an end to their schemes, their kidnappings, and all the lies. You've escaped, but you're still under the spell of Innsmouth. a bad feeling. You returned to Boston. You did everything you could. Well, damn. So, yeah, unfortunately, Miss Panda, that's it for today. But I am going to be coming back on Friday night, I believe. Probably going to do a stream for a couple of hours or a few hours on Friday. We'll get back into Monkey Island again. And then probably do a little bit of Minecraft on Saturday. So I will be back. I'm finally back into the streaming. It's been a few weeks since I streamed, so thought I'd do a short little stream today just to kind of get my groove back. And I had this new game to try out, so no, I'm really happy that you did. That was freaking amazing. You guys, everybody who stopped by today is amazing. Thank you again, Miss Pandy, for the sub. I truly do appreciate that. And like I said, we'll be back on Friday night, probably around 5 or 6 p.m. We'll stream for 2 or 3 hours that night, do a little bit of Monkey Island. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So enjoy the rest of your Monday. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys hopefully on Friday. Take care.